Gemini. Hi, welcome to my channel, guys. I'm doing a reading. I labeled it, who are they? It's a little bit like saying who's coming towards you. The idea is to look at the energy and describe a little bit the person that will eventually walk into your life, whether it's this month or sometime this year. We're going to see what the cards want to tell you about them. Some cards have already flipped. Fool in the reverse, Six of Wands, and the Seven of Cups. So I feel this person has options, but it's not so much that they have many options. I think they like to have options. You see the difference? So they certainly like to have you as an option. I don't think it's about leaving anything opened, and it's more a matter of them being a curious soul and almost like bulimia, right? Like wanting to meet as many people as possible and just really enjoy life and have connections and making sure they fill their lives. So the Seven of Cups takes on, like, they like the diversity, they like the fact that it's varied. They like what different relationships bring them. So not to say that they would necessarily entertain more than one romantic relationship, but you know what I mean? Like, they have this mindset. So maybe in love, they're very faithful. I do believe you'll experience them as curious. So maybe keep that in mind yourself when you deal with them. That was the first thing that struck me with these cards for them, to describe them. I'm going to say that they might have a tendency to be a little bit immature. They're going to want to have the last word. So a little bit of, I don't know, it's not like so much playfulness, but they want to play the game of who's right. So I'm not too sure how that really translates in a relationship, if they really do that. I'm not sure. What I do know is that I think they would behave immaturely if you didn't give them sometimes the upper hand, right? So making them feel like they're right, even when they're not. So again, playing games, but it's not so much to play the game for the game, right? For the game's sake. It's more just trying to describe to you that this person does like to be right. It has to do with their ego, I think. All of this is on the Fool card mostly. I mean, there's ego here as well on the Six of Wands. It's healthier ego, but it's still there. So the person likes to have options, meaning they like to feel like they can get anyone they want. I don't think they would do that, but they also like knowing that they can seduce others, but they also enjoy the relationships in general. So they like to interact with different people. For sure, for sure. I'm going to draw one more card. I wanted to draw one more card, but this happened. So 4 cards flipped. I think it's 4. Yeah. The Nine of Wands, the Four of Cups, the Ten of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. Let me show you. Yeah, this person doesn't like to be ignored. Okay, I have to say it because the cards came out. I wanted to describe, right? I wanted more information on the Fool in reverse. That's why I pulled. There's a little bit of I used the word immature before, so I don't know if it's on, I don't know if it's still immaturity, but there's a mix here of kind of like, I would feel like this person might pout or the ignoring energy, right? Like just want to, you know, like the kind of person that would say, talk to my hand, or, you know, if they're mad, they might not want to engage in a discussion with you in the moment, right? So they would prefer to, I guess, retreat or wait for the energy to settle, or like, you know, before they would engage in a conversation. So it's not so much immaturity. That might actually be a very mature choice, depending on the context and the circumstances, of course. But just to describe here, this Four of Cups is not about ignoring you per se. It's just they might have a tendency to not want to argue in the heat of the moment, right? I mean, they have the Nine of Swords in reverse, so it's not so bad, but they tend to stress quickly, I guess. It's maybe the quickness. And also they stress, but they also make things heavier than they should, right? So it's a little bit, this energy it compounds, right? It adds itself, it's like it builds. So when you add everything, when you compound, I'm not sure. I think I've often heard this word as compounded energy. Like when you, is that how you say when you add everything up? You combine them. So it gives me an impression of being a little bit closed. It's like usually the Fool, I'm sorry, I took a moment there because it's not obvious to describe. It's not even obvious to pick up here, to be frank. Like the Fool is a youthful energy, right? Even in reverse. And yet the other cards, so I was pulling to describe or clarify this Fool, and in the end the cards came out so heavy. So this nice energy that is usually bubbly is actually much heavier in reality. Maybe that's why the card is in reverse, right? It's being pulled down. So a lot of it has to do with the overthinking and overburdening oneself. Literally, in this case, it's self-doing. Because on the outside, the person looks, you know, relatively outgoing, you know, successful, with many options, you know, someone that would present as having options, as having more than one direction, or just choices in general. So it would indicate that they might be in a good position, good enough to be able to choose, no matter what that choice is. So that's the like core. And then when I pulled, and then I'm seeing more of the heavy stuff, right, attached to the Fool. So what I was sensing as immaturity might not be all immaturity. I do sense the person wants to be right. I've already said that though, but they're hardworking, that's for sure. It's a funny thing. As I was saying, they're hardworking because of the 10 of Wands. We also have the 9 of Wands here, and it's like there's a... It's almost like there's... The reason why the person is so hardworking comes from this, the 9 of Wands. But in this case, it's like compensation, or the person works so much because they're compensating for something that they feel they lack. So I think that's why they're so driven. They crave success, they crave attention. They also crave the limelight to a degree. But they have to work so much harder than everybody else. And they have some sort of insecurity linked to the work, like having to always work so much, like making it really heavy on them to always work so hard, to always have to succeed, you know, at least in their eyes. But I mean, that bar is really high, so they are very hard on themselves in that sense as well. But it comes from a sense of it's never enough, it's just never good enough. That's the 9 of Wands energy here speaking. I don't know, they feel like they're never satisfied. It feels like, you know, as much as I said they always want to be right, they always feel like they're never satisfied. So it's so sarcastic what I'm about to say, because it's like they want to be right about that as well, right? It's like they want to be right about why they work so hard. It's strange. I don't know, they're feeling justified, something like that. It's a strange energy here. They're feeling justified. I'm gonna get, oh, actually, let me get one of my keywords first. I was forgetting out of my deck that I made. One card, that's good. Let's see. Dove. It's a difficult interpretation, not in itself. In itself, it's easy. It's just to link it is not obvious here. I'm gonna have to go with the dove has to be the Fool, right? Because of its, I want to say its purity, right? Because the Fool is like youth, he's candid, he's innocent, so he's pure at heart, just like the dove is pure, being all white. So it's beautiful. I don't think this person is really easy to, they're necessarily always easy to deal with, but they have a particular sweetness. It's like saying they have a really good heart, right? It's like, even if you find it difficult to interact with them, you know, they might make you feel jealous if you feel their curiosity is difficult for you, which I think it might, because this Fool with this kind of egotistic energy, I mean, it's a healthy pride here, but it's still pride. So, but it's like saying, even if the person is proud, you know, wanting to succeed, wanting others to see them succeed, working harder than everybody else, always feeling like it's never enough, literally. Having maybe the tendency to sometimes not argue, or at least not wanting to fight, you know, not necessarily not having the discussions, but not the heated ones. I don't think this person is good with that. They're too soft, you know, they're soft, tender, sensitive, easily hurt. That's like the soft side, I guess. So you could say with, like, you know, the Nine of Swords energy, the little prickly side to them. Anyway, all these little quirks, right? Would kind of blur, because you're in front of someone who's very good-hearted. So it'll make you forget. Okay, well, many cards jumped. I'm not going to take them. I'm just going to go for one. Here, this one. Oh, I've gotten this one before for other reads. The Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. That's a good card for this read. Because I do think some of the channeling, how can I put it? Let me put it as channeling is hard work. Just to say also that it's work where you're earthbound, you're connected, you're grounded, but you have to connect to higher than yourself. So maybe this person is able to do that. maybe that's the hard work. And if they do that, I think they remove themselves. It's a good thing. At least partially they're able to. Interesting. It's a double mission, so it's good. It's a little bit like this reading. It's a double-sided reading when you think about it. I was describing someone maybe much more attached to being out there in the world, having a status, right? A reputation and a title and a, you know, something that others can perceive as successful. Whereas internally, I guess, they're quite different. Oh, maybe they're really doing the work of channeling and wanting to uplift humanity. Anyways, Gemini, I'll leave it here. Hopefully something resonated. You might already are able to identify this person. Who knows? Maybe you know them. Maybe you haven't met them. You can tell me when you do. So please like, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon. Good night.